everybody. Welcome to the Ronline Report. Great guest today. You know him as the first Olympia men's physique champion, and we got some exciting news for you. He's making a comeback as a classic physique pro very, very soon. Please welcome Mark Anthony. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Mr. Ron Harris. Thank you for having me on the Ron Line Report. It was good seeing you on the weekend.
Yeah, you and your we'll talk about your dogs later, but that one dog,
Yeah.
dude, that dog is a bigger superstar than you. I mean, everybody was following that dog around the expo. We'll talk about it.
I'll even bring him on if you want.
No, it's well, can he jump up? I don't know.
Yeah, I can put him right here.
His head's bigger than your head. Wait till you see this dog here. But this dog is massive. It's jacked.
Yeah.
So, but we've never really had an in-depth interview. I'm surprised. I've never had the chance to interview you before. So I want to start with the background stuff. You were born on the island of Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
But you didn't stick around long enough to get the cool Caribbean accent. You left there for Canada. How young?
It was in 1989. I was 9 years old when my family decided to make the move over to Canada, where most of my father's siblings had went to study university. So we would travel to Canada as a vacation often, and we took a liking to Canada. It was much more progressive than the islands at the time. I mean, and still, but Canada is where I called home from the age of 9 to the age of 30.
Wow. So, you always had a very athletic look about you. I always wondered, were you an athlete in other sports before all this?
Yeah, I was. I played in high school. I played, and prior to high school, I played baseball for many years and football. So baseball season would be in the summertime. As it was coming to an end, it was rolling right into football season. And, my father was very athletic. He was a cyclist. And part of his program was weightlifting, which is what directed my interest into weightlifting, because any boy admires his dad and wants to be just like his father. So bodybuilding just kind of fell into my lifestyle because my father was reading the magazines.
Oh, wow.
Looking at all the Weeder stuff and muscular development at the time as well. So I remember picking up a magazine and seeing like these guys like Charles Claremont and Milo Starchev, who's actually a dear friend of mine, and some of the real classic guys, you know what I mean? And then further on, as I was becoming a teenager, looking at, my favorite bodybuilder of all time, Jay Cutler, Kevin Levrone, these type of guys.
Yeah. And so I'm glad you mentioned Charles Claremont, because I guarantee you a lot of people watching this have no idea who he was. Google Charles Claremont with an E at the end. Fantastic guy, bodybuilder from the UK. Didn't get a lot of publicity or credit, but man, what a physique that guy had.
Today, Ron, he would be like, I mean, I'm obsessed with that guy. I'm also obsessed with Don Long. Don Long was like, I remember, because I was like, hey, here's a guy who kind of like looks like my ethnicity, like a biracial guy, and he's like, I was like, that guy's physique is crazy,
Yeah, very, very. That's a prematurely ended pro career. That guy could have been, wow. I mean, he only competed a few times as a pro that I recall, but I think he was always right up there, like third, fourth, fifth, no matter what he did. He
was an amateur at the national shows. I was like, just watching a video of him last night, and I was like, it's crazy because as a teenager or as a younger boy, I would see these guys in the magazine, and today my father brought to my attention. He's like, it's crazy how you're friends with these guys now,
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean, Jay's a very, very good friend of yours.
Yeah, Jay and I are very close. Our relationship is pretty. Everyone knows that we're really close. And I remember looking at him saying, damn, this guy's so big. And when I met him, maybe like 13 years ago, I remember looking at him saying, this is the widest guy I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anyone as wide. Like, I mean, Greg Kovacs was a friend of mine in Canada, and he was big. Like, he's the biggest guy I've ever seen. And he was wide. But Jay was, I remember walking behind Jay, and I'm like, this guy's like a gorilla. Yes. You know what I mean? I never seen anything like it in my own eyes.
Yeah, I have a story to back that up. 2005, I was in the New England Championships, and Jay was a guest poser. And by stroke of luck, one of the little backstage dressing rooms, he was in there, and we were both in there. And he had me oil his back, put some oil on his back for him. And I was like, "Fuck!" I said, "We need another bottle, dude. This back it's like from here to here, the shoulder and the lat span on, because he's 5'9". When you see Kovacs was over 6 foot, you expect someone like that, but 5'9", and he was like 5'6" wide.
Anyway, crazy.
I'm curious, did you start training like at home with some weights, or were you at like a commercial gym right away?
It's funny that you asked that because sometimes my brother and I really joke with each other and we say, remember those days when we were in the basement? Because in Canada we have basements, okay?
Yeah, we
We
have
were in
we
the
have them here too.
yeah, on the East Coast over there.
Yeah.
So my dad had made these dumbbells. He he used to weld, and he made these dumbbells out of like car parts.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and we had like a bench, a retractable bench, and we used to just go in there, look at the magazines, copy the exercises that they were doing, and hopefully we were doing it the right way. You know what I mean? So every day, man, we were in the basement working out, doing push-ups, chin-ups, bench press, curls, of course, arms. Yeah, so that's where it started, and then it
Yeah.
progressed into like a recreation center close by the house at the time, and then that didn't last too long because I started really getting like fascinated with the feeling of training. It
Mm.
wasn't necessarily for an aesthetic thing because my knowledge at the time, I was ignorant to what it would make my body look like. I
Mm.
just liked the way it made me feel, like the pumps and a little bit of the soreness. So then I went to the first gym I went to was called Planet Workout. And
Okay.
it was a new gym opened by a local
So
bodybuilder at the
that's a mix of Planet Fitness and workout world, but go
time.
ahead.
But it was hardcore. It was hardcore. It had all Atlantis equipment, which is a Canadian brand.
Yep.
And it was just like this huge place. And that's where it all really started, man.
So when did you said you weren't in it for the aesthetic sort of, because that's why most of us, I want to get big. I want to look a certain way.
Right.
When did you notice that you looked a little different from the average meathead lifting weights next to you?
So a very close friend of mine, who I'm really close with still today, he's known as Big Al, and he was like the bodybuilder, bouncer guy. I worked in nightlife back home for a very long time, hospitality and hosting, and he was one of the doormen there. And I said, "Hey, man, I want to start working out with you." And he's always like this grumpy face guy. He's like, "If you work out with me, gotta be on time, and it's gotta be hardcore." I was like, "All right." So I started working out with Big Al. He taught me how to deadlift, and he would make me force feed food.
Right.
And I was like, "Well, this guy's big, so he must know what he's talking about."
Right.
And then my body started to change. I started to fill out in certain areas, and I started seeing things, and I became stronger. And I started attending a lot of the local shows, amateur shows there. And at the time, it was just bodybuilding.
Right.
That's it for men, bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So now, in my mind and in my heart, I'm like, I would like to do a contest one day, but I never said anything. I never
Mm.
said anything because even though I'm a social person, I was just kind of shy about it.
Yeah.
And my friend Al was like, "You're gonna do the show next year." I was
Mm.
like, "Okay, I am."
Ah,
So that was 2004, and I did my first contest. I placed fifth. I was a middleweight. I weighed in at 100 and I think 70 pounds. And I was happy, man. That was the happiest day of my life. I never see myself got that lean ever. And then I just kept going.
yeah. Because you were in the Toronto area, right? Well, I know you're in Canada.
Yeah, I was in the
So
Toronto area. Yeah.
So they have different levels. It's different. The US is not quite as structured and organized with the NPC exactly, but Canada is very, very, I don't know, is it still that way where they would like have level one, level
So
two,
yeah, and
and
then
then you
that,
had to do provincial, then you could do the national?
correct. So you'd have to place top three in a level one show
Yeah.
to qualify for a level two show, and a top three in a level two show to qualify for provincials,
Hmm.
which essentially would be like a state show.
Right.
And then you have to place top three in the provincials to qualify for nationals. So I had gotten all the way up to qualifying for nationals. I never did a national show in Canada.
Hmm.
Then I started, having a lot more interest in this, and I started traveling to the U.S. and seeing how big the bodybuilding culture really was in the NPC.
Hmm.
I started making networking and making contacts that way. There was a company at the time called Ripped Freak in
Hmm.
Canada. Farmer Freak is the brand, and they sponsored me as one of their athletes. And at the time, they were advertising a lot and advertising and sponsoring booths at the shows in the U.S. in the NPC. So they were flying me to these events, and it was giving me the opportunity
Hmm.
to network and meet people like yourself, show promoters, stuff like that.
Yeah. So, how did you end up? Did you not compete again until you were living in the US?
So I was still living in Canada at the time. I moved to Las Vegas in 2010 on Halloween.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
10 years at just Halloween that just passed,
Yeah.
almost. Um, and so I said to myself, I want to do the Arnold Amateur.
Hmm.
And at the time, I was like, I don't think I'm big enough to do bodybuilding, but there was classic bodybuilding at that show.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Remember.
Same thing with the height and weight criteria,
Yep.
but we wore posing trunks like a bodybuilder,
Yep.
right?
I
I'm like,
remember.
I want to place top five because I know top five you get a trophy in the show, right?
Yeah.
So I was seeking a coach. Okay. So at the time I was seeking a coach before I did this contest, the Arnold Amateur Classic Bodybuilding. And I had emailed at the time, the two hot coaches in all the magazines were Hani Rambod and George Farah. So I emailed them both, just telling them about my goals and inquiring about their services.
Yeah.
And Hani gave me a very, very, very short response. And
Yeah.
George gave me a very welcoming response and said, hey, here's my number. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. So, automatically I gravitated towards that and I gave him a call and he was super nice, super cool. And he said, well, let's get started. So I said, listen, I live in Toronto. I'm going to take the drive down to Rochester to come meet you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was only an hour and a half. And he was like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
wow. He's like, that's cool. Like come through. And at the time he had like this little personal training gym
Yeah.
and a huge German Shepherd, huge, beautiful German Shepherd. So anyways, I drove down there. It was in winter and we met, felt a great connection, and we got started, man.
Hmm.
And soon, I moved to Vegas. I got settled in, and we started prep for that show. I placed fifth.
In classic bodybuilding.
Classic bodybuilding, yeah. I weighed in
Wow.
76
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah.
Was my best look at that time, and I built a very, very great relationship with George. He's someone that is very dear to me in my life and always will be because from that point on, my life changed and it changed with him.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting. Classic bodybuilding was at the Arnold, I want to say just 2 years, and then it was gone. We never saw it again.
It was 2011.
Yeah. So I think it was there in either 10 and 11 or 11 and 12,
Right.
and then never again
Yeah.
until, then we had Classic Physique came along, but that was much later. So
Right.
how did you end up in men's physique not too long after that?
Right.
Where you got your pro card?
Yeah, literally, that same month, I think it was the 3rd of March that I competed in Columbus. And then on the 23rd, 20 days later, John Lindsay and Muscle Contest in California, Culver City, they introduced the first ever men's physique NPC contest.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it was at the LA Grand Prix or LA Championships. I don't remember the name of the show. So George had kept coaching me, and Jay Cutler had some early info about this show and said, "Hey man, there's a new division coming out. Guys are going to be wearing board shorts. It's kind of like a beach body, kind of athletic look." He goes, "Your body's right there. Do this. You're going to be great at this." And I'm like, if Jay Cutler is telling me that I'm going to be great at something, I'm doing it.
Yeah. I mean,
You know what I mean? But I'm like, so listen, so we can't pose or like do anything? He's like, no, it's just like, muscle modeling kind of thing. Like he wasn't really sure as well, but he just knew that it was more of about abs and aesthetics and not too big. And so I went to Culver City and I did that show. I placed fifth there as well.
really? Huh.
Yeah. But the thing is, no one really knew how to pose. So I created this posing that I thought was going to be like, I'm like, okay, it's going to be quarter turns, but I have to throw a little flair into it because I can't lift my arms to create, like I can't create a story with my posing. I'm kind of like limited. So again, I had a great time. I was very happy with placing fifth and making, some improvements in 20 days with George. And I came off stage and John Lindsay came up to me and said, "Hey kid, who are you?" And I was like, "I'm Mark Anthony. I'm from Canada." And he's like, "You're going to be great at this." you need to continue doing this. You
Wow.
know, I guess, presentation in men's physique at the time. I mean, it's kind of turned into some
Yeah, it's
ballet.
too much of the stirring the teapot stuff, and
And
yeah.
it hurts me when I see
Well,
it.
let me back up a second. Was this the very first men's physique contest ever?
Ever for in the
Ever?
MPD, ever.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you competed in the very first men's physique show ever.
ever.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
insane.
So, uh, so now I'm feeling like, wow, people are telling me I could be great at something, and this is all I ever wanted to be in my life is great at something.
Mm,
And I was hungry. I was, like ready to learn and ready to work. And then after that show, the popularity just blew up.
mm,
Every guy was like, man, who wanted to be a bodybuilder and wanted to compete that didn't think they had the genetics or the size
yeah.
was like hearing about this and they're like, I want to do this. And now online presence with fitness and bodybuilding and stuff was more like, you could see things online.
Right.
So I then went on to do Jay Cutler Classic in Vegas, my hometown now,
Yep.
um, in April, a month later, where I placed second.
Hmm.
So that was fun. I was creeping up now. Just to fast forward a little bit, then in July, I went to the LA Championships, another John Lindsay show muscle contest, and
Right.
and here I am like gunning now. I'm like, okay, there's going to be a national show. Okay, so now we're in 2012. No, sorry, 2011.
Yeah, you turned pro in 2011.
Yeah, 2011, 2011.
Yeah.
And the only show I was eligible to do, because I'm a Canadian citizen,
Right.
was the North Americans. Now, all these other guys were popping up and turning pro, turning pro, because how many national shows do we have? 8?
I mean, for bodybuilders, it's less, but for like men's physique, women's physique, bikini, I think it's 8 or more because the Junior USA, Junior National.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's somewhere around that number. Yeah.
right. So Matt Christianer was the first men's physique pro ever.
Right.
I was like, damn, this guy looks great. You know what I mean? So I came in second at the LA Championship. So I never won an overall at an NPC show.
Hmm.
And then, then the hype was crazy. Going into
Yeah.
all these national shows, the hype was crazy. There was a lot of hype around me, and I really thank Jay for that because he went online and was telling people like, this is my guy and my friend, and
Yeah.
he's gonna be, he's gonna do great. And so I love the guy for all his support and believing me. And then we did North Americans, and I walked into North Americans. It was in Cleveland at the time,
Yeah.
and I'd never seen a national show so large,
Hmm.
compared to Canada.
Right.
So you have Mexican citizens, Canadian citizens, U.S. citizens, and it was crazy. So I walk in there and just, I'm just happy to be there.
Hmm.
I'm happy that these things are happening to me, and I'm happy to see all these amazing physiques in my class. I'm like, this is competitive. This is real
Yeah.
deal. At the time, we had to really convince bodybuilders that this was the real deal because they're like, what is this joke? You know,
They're still not convinced. But go ahead.
I mean, however, I feel like men's physique has really brought a lot of new blood to our sport and a
Absolutely.
lot of revenue.
Of
So
course.
I'm very thankful that Mr. Jim Mannion, introduced this division to our league, and I was part of the infancy and the birth, actually, of this division. So I'm really proud of that. But I walked into the North Americans, and everyone was like congratulating me. Guys backstage were like, "Congratulations, man!" I'm like, "Well, we
Yeah.
didn't go on. We're not going on until like, I don't know, like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Because
After
you were that guy. That's why you were
yeah.
that guy.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing, I just didn't really know what to expect, and my parents came from Toronto to come support me, and we were just like happy to be there and to be around all these people, and I won my class. It was A, B, and C at the time.
Wow.
Now they have A to like all the
Gee.
different. Yeah,
Over 7 foot two.
yeah. I don't know how many guys were in the class. I believe it was a lot. It was like 30 plus guys, 40 plus
Wow.
guys, something, and then I won. And then I battled in the overall, and the guy in Class C won.
Hmm.
But that was like the highlight of my life, man. Like I moved to Vegas with one suitcase and a dream,
Hmm.
and a lot of people are like, "What are you doing? Are you crazy? You're gonna leave your amazing lifestyle here in Toronto, where with a great job and you live a great life, and you're gonna go pursue bodybuilding?
Yeah,
You think you're gonna go pro? It's not gonna happen." You know
of
what I mean?
course not.
No. And I just went there and said, "Listen, I'm just gonna follow my dreams and hit the road every day and work hard. Every day is a working day, every day is a winning day, and this happened. So thank God it all unfolded this way. And then again, 2012 came out when the IFBB Pro League introduced it to the Pro League,
Right.
and
And look what happened here. New York Pro winner, Europa winner, LA Grand Prix winner, Olympia winner. What a year.
Pittsburgh Pro two-time winner.
Yeah, you won that the next year in 2013. Oh, you know what? I guarantee you, everybody who beat you in 2011 leading up to North American, second you start winning those shows, and especially when you won the Olympia, I bet they were telling everyone, I beat that guy. I beat that guy.
I mean, listen, there's still people online saying, "I beat that guy,"
Yeah.
So it's the name of the game.
Yeah, you know what? I've beaten the guys that are pros now, but they didn't look like that when I beat them. So it's
Right.
not, you really can't brag. It's not an accurate brag.
Yeah.
But so that was a hell of a year for you. I mean,
Hell of a year.
what was it like to know that I must be like the standard for this division if I keep winning everything, and then you win the Olympia? Because you can only, every Olympia division only has one first winner, and
Right.
you're it. So you're always going to be the first men's physique Olympia champion. But what was it like to win that very first Olympia back in 2012?
Well, thank you for acknowledging that. Most of my friends always say to me like, "Do you understand what you did?" I'm like, you know, I love bodybuilding so much, and I love the community and the culture, and I love the people that have helped me along the way, and I love the people that have been supporting from day one, and the people that are newly supporting because um, the feeling was, my brother and I, he was with me along the whole way. He came to Vegas with me and was prepping with me and stuff, and
Hmm.
you know, growing up we didn't have a lot, so a little was a lot for us,
Yeah.
and it's more like I was just grateful to be part of all of this because it's something that it started with like looking in a magazine, seeing these type of people and how these things happen, and here I am living in it
Hmm.
and making it happen. So it was just like I really didn't expect much. I just put the work in, and it was a surreal feeling. It was the best day of my life when I won the Olympia. I was thinking like I just remember what it took to get there, and I just really enjoyed that moment and celebrated with all my loved ones and people that were a part of it.
Yeah. So here we go into the next season. You win Pittsburgh again.
Yep.
But of course, I got to talk about the Olympia. You go to the Olympia as the defending champion. And this time, this was the year Jeremy Buendia began his, was it 4 year reign, right? 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you dropped down to sixth. Do
Yeah.
you
So
know, what happened there, dude? What happened?
I mean, you go from winning everything,
Right.
even the Olympia, and then the Pittsburgh Pro, which I mean, I feel is one of the biggest shows ever to win.
Yeah.
So going into the 2014 Olympia, I feel like I'm on the right track. I was even sharper than I was the year before,
Hmm.
much leaner, much harder, um, not getting away too far from what the winning physique was in 2013, because I felt like if I won looking like that, I don't need to be too far off, maybe just harder.
Yeah.
And I dropped from first to sixth.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had dropped from first to second or third, it would at the time, I thought it would have made more sense. Here's the thing. In life, you win and you lose. I am of course, I was upset at the time, and I was like, "What am I going to do now?" But that's just part of the game. And
Well, let me ask you, I'm sure you analyzed the videos, the pictures and everything, or maybe you even talked to the judges. Why do you think they had you in sixth place?
I
Why
really
would,
never, I
as
really,
a defending champion typically never drops that far unless they show up way out of shape. And you just said you were not. You were sharper. So
right.
what? I don't get it.
It was confusing. George was irate,
Mm.
but listen, these judges are there for a reason. These are the best judges in the world, and that's where they saw me. They saw me in sixth place, and I knew Jeremy Buendia was coming up and coming up strong. I mean, I feel like the guy has a phenomenal physique. He has the total package when it comes to being on stage. Like he's handsome, he's got a good look. I mean, he's a little shorter, but his ratios the way he puts it together, his posing, he's great. So if that year he deserved to be the winner, and I mean I don't know what happened from second, third, fourth, and fifth, but
So I'm trying to figure out, but
yeah,
I guess we'll never know. But
yeah,
yeah, so yeah, I mean, that must have been a tough blow because you're the world champion, you're the best in the world,
right,
and then wow, now I'm not even in the top five.
right.
What did you what was your mind at that? Did you think that's it? I'm getting my title back next year, or are you starting to think I don't know about this stuff? Where were you at?
Yeah, I became a little discouraged. Um, I didn't know really what to do, but of course I said to myself, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to get better. At the time, it didn't really affect, my sponsorships, and I'm proud to say I'm probably the first. No, I won't say probably. I know. Sorry, I know I'm the first uh, men's
Yes, you.
physique men's physique pro to have the type of sponsorships that I've had. And
Yeah, you've
I,
been. Let's talk about. You've been with High Tech for how long now?
I've been with High Tech for 2 years.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, been with High
Talk
Tech.
about a powerhouse in the supplement industry, High Tech. Whew.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
very proud, and I feel privileged to be part of High Tech. As everyone knows, they have crazy amounts of very strong products, even now a vitamin line. So I love representing this company. They treat me very, very well. Even though I have not been in the competitive realm lately, in the past couple of years, they still believe in me, and they're very happy that I'm going to make a comeback.
yeah. We'll get to that soon. But so yeah, you competed a little while longer. You did a few more shows.
Yeah,
I was surprised in our interview in Long Beach. I didn't even realize you had competed 2 years ago again at
and
the
2017.
curriculum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2017. I I started working with Milos, and we said let's jump in a show and see, you know, see where you end up. It was more building a relationship with him and to learn my body because I had been I didn't compete in 2015, and then I came back and I competed in 2016 where I felt like I looked my best, and that was my worst placing at the Olympia.
Hmm.
And here's the thing: if you're not in the mix, I feel like you lose relevancy.
Hmm. Yeah.
If you're not like active and at the shows, and that's something that I was really doing in the early part. I was at all the shows. I was traveling a lot, doing a lot of posing seminars, um, interacting with and engaging with fans and supporters and new people coming into the men's physique division. And then in 2015, I kind of like slowed down a little bit because of what happened in 2014. 2016, I made a comeback. 2017, I did the Frigno. Just I shouldn't have done that show, but I just did it. And then I've been just focusing on my personal training and coaching business ever since, and enjoying life. And not that I didn't enjoy life while I was competing, but I didn't really like the direction that men's physique was going because when I first started, they were telling me I was too large.
Right.
So then I started more like kickboxing and functional training and SAQ stuff like football style, like um, speed, agility, quickness training to sort of atrophy and keep more of a tighter look. And now, as you can see, men's physique guys are probably heavier than classic physique guys. I mean,
Absolutely.
they're very top heavy. You
Yeah.
know, I'm one of the guys that kept training my legs and my calves. The pictures will show. But if
Right.
you see the guys in the top five these days, take a look at their calves.
Well, they're sticks for calves usually. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not going to call anyone out, but I was at a show this year. And I won't even say the show but the entire top 10, because now they break it down to the top 10.
yeah,
And I'm looking at the calves on I'm like, oh my God. I'm sure they train their calves, but all these guys had calves that insert like 3 inches, way, way up high. So there's nothing they can do about it.
right.
But yeah, even in Flex magazine, they had McGuff did he was talking about how men's physique has changed, and he used Buendia, his Buendia at the beginning of his career, and it was like a morph thing, and he just blew. He got bigger and bigger and nasty, more bodybuilder looking. And
Yeah,
a lot of these guys, a lot of these guys are really borderline. They're like, I don't want to say wannabe bodybuilders because they would be in bodybuilding if they wanted to, but
right.
you see some guys that look very, very jacked for men's physique now.
Jacked.
Very jacked.
Yeah. And here's the thing, every class and division is progressively will evolve, but I just think it's a wrong message, even if they say they don't judge calves. So what the guys are doing now are they're making their shorts tighter to give the illusion that they have quads. You know, if I wear tights, of course my legs are going to look bigger, and to compensate for their calves, whatever. Listen, at the end of the day, it is all bodybuilding, right? And we're building our physiques.
I call it all bodybuilding, just like a
Yeah,
catch-all phrase.
right. Yeah, to have symmetry. And when I look at someone that looks top heavy and or vice versa, bottom heavy and the symmetry is off. So
Hey, I resemble that remark. How dare you? But let's back up to 2016. Classic Physique was introduced, and I'm sure you, like you more so than a lot of us, probably said, what were you thinking when that? I think it was the very end of 2015 when there was a video with Jim Mannion and Frank Seppi and explaining what it was going to be,
yeah,
and I think that's when we all started getting intrigued. What were your thoughts when that came out and you knew this was coming?
I heard about it prior,
Of
and
course.
when they made the announcement, I was like, wow. I was like, man, if this started when men's physique started, I would have been happy, you know. But
Yeah.
it is what it is, and I'm happy very happy that they introduced this division, because look at the strength of it, look at the beauty of it. It's just pretty, and guys are still training hardcore like bodybuilders, and you know we were just playing off of our structures, right? So we have these guys that are at the Olympia, like super competitive, super developed, super conditioned. And you know, like I said, every year it gets more progressive where they're making changes. Now the trunks are a little bit more sculpted, where you can see a little bit more detail in the quads and the hamstrings and glutes.
Thank God. Those old trunks for the first 3 seasons were ridiculous. They
Right?
look like they were going to a bike race,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I mean, they gotta walk through the mud sometimes with certain things, and then you know
Yeah.
it all gets fixed. But yeah, I was very intrigued, and it really made me want to come out of my little resting period and say, hey, this is something that's really interesting to me. Do I think I can win the Olympia in classic physique? Probably not. Do I think that I can bring a spectacular physique that no one has ever seen with no limits now?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. You started off as a bodybuilder, so it must have been rough for you in those years as a men's physique because you had to cover your entire thighs.
Eyes,
You,
yep.
you couldn't hit a single damn pose.
Right.
It must have drove you crazy, and to some extent to
Right.
have to sort of and you had to limit your size. You, like you said, you were trying to downsize, which is
Yeah.
that goes against everything that we do this for.
It goes against everything.
Yeah, it's bodybuilding. It's
Yeah.
not body shrinking.
Yeah. Body shrinking or body holding, you know?
Yeah,
So,
maintaining.
right. Yeah, it was challenging because, all my life coming up as in the early stages of bodybuilding as an amateur, I was just practicing posing. I was like looking at guys like Jay and Flex Wheeler and Kevin Levrone and mimicking their posing routines, and Charles Claremont and Milos. I love those guys. And now I'm like, well, I can't do this ever, you know? So my thought when I was deciding about making a comeback, I was like, I can finally do a posing routine at this level, the highest level as a professional in the IFBB Pro League. And even if for myself, this time is for myself. I feel no pressure. Some people feel like it could be detrimental to my titles.
Your legacy.
Yeah. But, this is a completely different division.
Right.
So, I've turned the page on men's physique, and I'm proud and happy of all my accomplishments there. But it's time to write a new destiny.
Yeah, and if you're a fan of really good posing, as you are, Classic gives you they put a lot more emphasis on posing and presentation. I was
Agreed.
watching even this Legion show this last weekend. Some of these guys had some knockout routines.
Awesome.
Some of the guys didn't even place well. Well, they were in the top 10 because only top 10 pose, but
Right.
some of them I was like, wow, that was a solid routine. Like
Right.
a lot of flair, a lot of cool, graceful, but still powerful movements. So yeah,
Yes.
you get a chance now, not because let's be real, the open routines, a lot of them are just a snooze fest. They can tell they don't put any real effort into it. But
Right.
classic, these guys are they want to entertain and they really want to showcase the art and beauty of it.
Yes.
So someone like
And
yourself is going to have a blast, I think.
I'm going to really enjoy that part of it. And this is one of the things that really made me fall in love with bodybuilding is the presentation and how a person with so much muscle can move and orchestrate a presentation like this. So it's really exciting to think of, even the how do I start? Like what poses look best on me and how am I going to flow? So I'm looking forward to putting that together.
Okay. Physique wise, what do you think you need to work on before you get up there as a classic physique pro?
So I feel like my overall physique needs some work, and this is why I'm going to schedule a contest accordingly to my progress.
Hmm.
I've never had a full structured off season where I've treated it like I'm treating this off season like a prep.
Hmm.
So um, however long it takes, but I do have a timeline in mind. I've just recently started working with Matt Jansen as my coach,
Okay.
and I've known Matt for a long time. Uh, even back in 2013 when I won. Even prior to that, I've known Matt, and I mean, I feel like his athletes all look a certain way that I strive to look like, with their conditioning, and getting to know Matt over the past 4 or 5 months. Um, I like his style, man. He's no BS. He's not going to tell me I look great. He's not going to blow smoke in my ass. He's going to tell me what I need to do. He holds me very accountable, and I believe he's the guy that I need to give me success again, or help me with my success when it comes to nutrition, timing, training. I believe in the same things he does. So I'm looking forward to a structured off season with him to see where I can take my body. I'm the most focused that I've ever been. So and
Yeah, I mean, so you're not going to tell me Arnold Classic or New York Pro because you don't know right now.
I don't know right now, but I'll say this: October 2020, there's a special contest there that I have my eyes set on. So
October.
we'll talk more about it, I'm sure.
October. I'm at a loss. Probably
Gonna be
it's
a big,
supposed to
it's gonna be a big one.
all right, never mind. All right, I just thought of it. Okay, can I say it? Because everyone watching is going to say Athleticon. It's Athleticon. Okay. I mean, why wouldn't you do that show? That's going to be a Olympian Athleticon Arnold. I mean, it's going to be right there. It's going to be a spectacle. I'm very much looking forward to it. I forgot to ask you about that dog, but I got, can you show him or am I just going to show pictures
Let
of
me
him?
just grab him. He's right here.
Chino, right?
Chino.
Chino. I don't know if you can lift that dog. This is an American Bulldog, you said?
American Bully. This is the
American
love
Bully.
of my life.
110 pounds, right?
Yeah, he's about
Ripped.
115 right now. Look at him run. Look at him
115.
run.
Look at that. Yeah. And it's so low to the ground. He's like a foot tall, but he's
Yeah. Thick.
built a big,
Yeah.
thick, powerful dog. And I'm gonna put it up on the screen because Chris Minnis with the Legion Sports show, he did a really cool thing with the comic book art
Yeah.
where yourself and all the Olympians were represented as IFBB superheroes in
Superhero.
this artwork that was all over the expo,
Right.
their social media, and he had you there with your dog.
Yes.
And I said to my wife, they really exaggerated, made Mark a lot bigger than he is in real life, but that dog looks exactly the same in the cartoon, in the comic, as he does in real life. Because
Right.
you couldn't make that dog any thicker. He's
Right.
cool. But wow, did you have you had that dog since he was a puppy?
I had him. I've had him since he was just past his puppy stage when I got him. But yeah, he's just even as a puppy, he was a monster, man.
I won't make this a dog show, but I'm just curious, how much does that dog eat? Because I have a 70-pound pit mix. He
Yeah.
goes through, we give him 2.5 cups of dry food twice a day. What does something like that eat?
Well, I don't feed my dogs dry food. I feed my dogs beef organs.
Boy,
Yeah. So
better
uh,
pet owner than me.
yeah, cow heart, cow liver, and cow marrow. It's a blend that my butcher makes for us, and he eats 12 ounces twice a day, and it has like a ground beef consistency.
Okay.
Yeah. And he gets coconut oil, he gets CBD oil, white rice, sweet
Wow.
potato sometimes.
So 24 ounces of meat a day and, a few cups of rice too.
Yeah, he gets about 4 ounces of rice now because I don't want him to get too heavy.
Okay. I just had to talk about that because that dog was fascinating. Like I said, you walked around that expo and there was a crowd following you everywhere you
I
went.
mean, he stole the show, man.
Everybody wanted a picture of him. I took like 20 pictures. Everybody wanted a picture with the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had the other dog, which this one stole his thunder, unfortunately. But yeah, they were both cool dogs. So, Mark, we're going to see you on stage next year
Next
at
year.
probably at that show that we mentioned. It's going to be a huge event. What a great place to make your debut as a classic physique pro. Wow. Um, I'm really looking forward to see what you can do because I know you've been holding yourself back for years and years.
Yes.
And I can tell people's genetics and muscle bellies. And I said, I know what that guy could look like if he wanted to, if he
Thank
really wanted to. And now, you carry certainly a decent amount of muscle, but I'm curious what you can do when you're not being held back.
Right.
Put it that way. It's gonna be exciting to watch.
Yeah, I just thank you, Ron. I just really want to bring a symmetrical physique. Like I mean, not that I'm never comparing myself to this person, but the idea is to look like Charles Claremont, man.
Yeah,
Like nice waist, round bellies, really nice condition, and poise.
yeah.
So I hope to fill out in the right areas. I mean, I have a lot of work to do. I need to get some thickness in my back and some arms, some shoulders, and mainly the hamstring area. So I see the way these guys look now, like the top guys in classic physique, and they're no joke, man.
Oh
But
no, no, they are not. So what's the weight cutoff for your height? You're like 5'10"?
I was just actually looking at that. I'm just under 5'10", so I could be 207 pounds, which is perfect.
Okay.
In the off season, I walk around. I was walking around with some body fat at like 230,
Yeah.
comfortably. But I know Matt wants me to be leaner in the off season, around the 220, 222 weight,
Yeah.
and so we'd be in striking distance for 207,
Yeah. Because what did you weigh when you won the Olympia?
186.
Okay, so we're talking about a full 21 pounds more mass in better condition. So it's going to be really more like 25 or more pounds of muscle mass.
Yeah,
With that, I'm sure your waist is going to stay nice and narrow and tight. So, wow, let's sit back and watch the fireworks, everybody. So,
thank you.
Mark Anthony Flex on Instagram is I hope you'll be posting up some pictures during this off season so people can follow your journey along.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do like a video series. But speaking of pictures, I did
Yeah.
take some pictures in Long Beach
Oh, which
with
pictures?
Jason.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the last thing I was supposed to talk about is you're going to be on the cover of Muscular Development, the New Year's special issue, the January issue. You
January
actually shot with Jason Ellis, the king of covers,
camp covers.
the day before the expo, right? Was it Friday you shot?
Yeah, we did it. We did it on Friday. Before the Legion Sports Fest was on Saturday and Sunday,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to not do it after the Legions because I wanted to be focused and get it done, stay tight. So Matt and I did like a crash diet for 4 weeks, and we pulled it together. Had a great time with Jason Ellis. I think he looked happy with all the shots that we took. So this is like another dream of mine, to be on the cover of Muscular Development. I never thought it would ever happen. And then when I saw Mr. Steve Blackman at the Olympia, he says, "Wow, Mark, you've put on some size. I think it's time." And thank you to my sponsors, High Tech Pharma, for all the support and the relationship that they have with Muscular Development. Anthony Preciano, good friend of mine with High Tech. We all put it together, and we got the job done on the Friday before the Legions in Long Beach. So I'm very, very excited, and I'd like to thank Mr. Steve Blackman and Jason Ellis and for this opportunity.
Because have you had covers before on like fitness magazines? I believe you have, right?
Yes, I have. I was in
Yeah.
Inside Fitness several times. I've been in some of the AMI publications,
Yeah.
not on the cover, and I was in Fitness RX. They did a spread on me in
Yeah.
2012.
Okay. So which was our men's fitness publication.
Correct. Yes.
But this will be your first bodybuilding cover.
Yes.
It's exciting. I haven't seen the shots. I'm looking forward to seeing the shots
I'm
because
excited to see them as well.
because Jason's a master. Obviously, they don't call him the king of covers for nothing.
Yeah, man, shooting with that guy was awesome, man. He just knew. He knew, he's seasoned. He knew where to position me. He knew what looked best on me. We caught some really cool sunset pictures. It was awesome.
Yeah, like I always say, when you get a great physique and a great photographer and put them together, it's like magic. You're going to get images that are like beyond reality.
I mean,
Just like,
I walked into the studio and all the covers were there, like
yeah,
on his wall, and I was like, man, these look awesome.
yeah.
So I'm excited. And the January issue, probably one of the bigger ones, right?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have predictions for the new year, all kinds of cool stuff in there. We're working hard on that issue right now. But
Cool.
so yeah, and your YouTube channel is what?
Mark Anthony Primetime.
Okay.
That my YouTube is not as active as my Instagram, but I'm working at it, guys. So there'll be a lot more lifestyle training and progression over this period of off-season, on-season prep for this next contest.
And follow him on Instagram at Mark Anthony Flex.
Yes, sir.
Correct? I got
Yes.
all one word, Mark Anthony Flex. Mark with a K, everybody. Don't confuse him with the singer. It's Mark with a K, Anthony.
Right.
Yeah. He's way more jacked than that guy, trust me. So, all right, Mark. Thank you so much for your time. It's been good to finally get a real solid interview with you. Not some like 5-minute thing at a show where
Yeah.
people going crazy around us. So yeah, looking very much forward to you as a classic physique pro. Looking very much forward to see you on the cover of Muscular Development magazine. That's a big deal. I'm happy for you.
Thank you,
So
Ron. Yeah, thank you also for all your time and your support and this interview. I appreciate it.
no problem. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching Ronline Report with this man, Mark Anthony. We'll see you later.